Hey everybody, welcome back to Dungeons and Dragons with College of Lore. Hi, I'm Cass, this is the Penitent.
Hello.
We're gonna play some Dungeons and Dragons, if you couldn't already tell.
Curse of Strahd.
Cursive Straw. It's like a little bendy straw. Like a little, the party, like curly straws that you have
Yeah.
when you're a kid. It's like that.
We have a party curly straw. We share it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to share.
We didn't
It's the opposite of getting like 6 straws for one milkshake.
we didn't get enough tokens at the Barovian Fantasy Arcade
Yeah, you
to
didn't
get
go
our own
to
individuals.
like Fantasy Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Is that gonna get me copyrighted? I doubt it.
Fantasy Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Powerful Rat.
Curse of Chuck E. Cheese.
Curse of Chuck E. Cheese. That's where we are right now. You're trapped in a Chuck E. Cheese. Well, this is just like that one video game.
I would play a Curse of Strahd game where Strahd was replaced with Chuck E. Cheese.
I would not.
Strahd was just wearing the mascot costume.
I would not play that. In fact, instead of playing that, let's play the game that we already have.
Okay.
So hi everyone. Last we left off, you had just had some dreams. Some funky little some sleep moments. You'd had some sleepy visuals.
We all had a peaceful night.
Yeah, that was the best sleep you've had in ages, for sure. And in the morning, all of you wake up kind of miserable. And you kind of make your way to the main room, where Irina is already up and Koyan is already up. And you see someone who you have not met before, who you would assume is Irina's brother, who is just kind of brooding in the corner, sipping on what you would assume is coffee.
We kind of wave good morning. Some of us more than others. I think he comes, like, downstairs properly, right?
Yeah.
I think Ruby more than anyone would wave. Pruitt might still be outside attacking trees.
He'll come in eventually. And Irina kind of looks all of you over. Well, you look like you had a shit night.
Tavery, who shared a room with her. Bad dream.
Happens a lot here, apparently. I wouldn't know, I never dream.
That sounds nice.
I'm the only one I've ever met who doesn't have nightmares. We've theorized there's a reason for that.
I'm not even supposed to dream, Zero says, but I did.
The magic of this place will often put people through things they don't normally experience. That said, we should talk about where we're going.
We should. Oxford kind of takes a lead here.
So, we have options. If we want to just head straight in the direction of everything else, the first city we'll hit is Vallaki. It's... maybe capital city is the wrong word. It's the biggest city that we have. I've only been a couple of times when I was younger. It's a little more rigid on the defense system, which is not a bad thing. We just don't have the resources here. A little bit more rigid defenses, a little bit more rigid rules. Like I said, I've only ever been a couple of times. They did not welcome me very well. Probably because they're terrified of Strahd, which I guess I can't blame them for. They're a little, I think hostile an overstatement. They're not fond of adventurers. But it's worth talking to them. And if they don't want us there, we can keep moving. From there, the path kind of splits in two. There's a mountain, there's a temple on that mountain. I've never been to the Amber Temple. Dad, you've been, right? Yes, once. What was it like there? Foreboding, I would say, is the word I would use. There wasn't much there, just a lot of empty space. I never found anything of use, although that is said to be where people here go to get their power, their magic.
But you never found anything of use.
No, never. Like I said, I only went the once, but I searched there for a long time and I never found anything substantial that might help us.
Huh.
There's always a possibility I just wasn't looking right. Magic is fickle, from my understanding. If you continue down that path, as Arena was saying, there are several other places it can take you. There is the temple, and then there is... If you come across it, it's a little off the path. There is a tower where... Friend is a strong word. Someone I know spends most of their time.
Friend is a strong word?
Not in the sense that they're not a good person, that they're not on our side. In the sense of they don't really keep friends. Are you talking about Van Richten? Yes, I'm talking about Van Richten. Van Richten is a monster hunter, who is kind of a last line of defense against Strahd. Has helped adventurers before, may or may not deem you worthy of doing so. It's worth stopping in, I suppose, if you can find it. I'm not convinced it doesn't move.
That's fair.
The other direction is Berez. It's abandoned, as far as I know. People say things still live there, but I think things, not people.
What do you mean by things?
Monsters, maybe. There's a rumor that some kind of being with magic lives there. I wouldn't know. Never been there. Never gone that far. The only other things you'll find out that way, there's one more town, Kresk, which I have not been to in a couple of decades, so I can't tell you much.
Alright.
Much smaller than here. And, again, never been. There's a settlement, a kind of abandoned keep. People call it Argenvostold.
Huh.
It was a, kind of a baron's land long before everything happened with the Dread Lord.
Okay.
And that's the only other place that you might find anything of use, as far as I'm aware. Though the paths do lead you in strange places sometimes. It's not always a guarantee you'll get where you're going. And it's also not always a guarantee you won't be fucked up by the time you get there.
So, my big question, Oxford says, is what exactly are we looking for?
So, when people have done this in the past, they've gone looking for... They're sort of... I've never seen them. Artifacts. There is, according to legend, only one weapon that can kill Strahd. It's referred to as the Sword of Light or the Sun Sword. Sword of Radiance, I don't know. Something like that. I just call it the Sun Sword. Everyone calls it the Sun Sword, it's easier.
Alright.
There was some title for it a long time ago. There is... They call it the Tome of Strahd. It's a glorified diary. In my opinion. And I've never seen it, but that's what I've heard. It's supposed to have information on his weaknesses, although I'm not sure I buy that considering he's the one who wrote in it most. But people look for it.
Love to see a multi-page entry about how much he hates garlic and steaks.
I would not be surprised. Probably a lot more pages about how much he hates his brother. And then there is this... This one I know is proven to actually do something. People have found it before, gotten it on him, and it's weakened him, although no one's ever used it enough to kill him. It's a holy symbol. Probably... I don't know if it's to anyone any of you would know. It is. It's a holy symbol of the Raven Queen,
Huh.
who, I suppose that makes sense because Shadowfell.
Hmm. That is interesting.
I've done my research. Um, so she has followers here, servants who have crossed into this plane before it was stuck. And the few of them that live keep it guarded. So that is what people normally look for. I don't know if any of it will work. The only things, I mean, the Sun Sword, it's a legend. Uh, I would put stock in it if we can find it. And the holy symbol, probably useful to a degree. I don't have any idea if the book is worth looking for, though.
Has anyone found these things that you know of?
Uh, that would be more my dad's knowledge. People have found them before. Uh, they. Strud has also tried to take them and hide them before. Uh, he's taken them to the castle before, and people have gotten them out. But from my knowledge, the few times anyone has found them, they have had a mind of their own when those people are killed, and they disappear and hide other places.
Hmm.
The magic of this place does not really want Strud to fail, but I'm also not sure it wants him to succeed.
It just wants to keep it going forever.
Yes. It perpetuates itself, and the harder those items are to find, the less likely it is that anyone will change anything.
Well, do we have any idea where to start looking?
Irina's right, anywhere with some sort of magical capacity, anywhere even with people might have leads.
Well,
I would suggest you just start walking toward Valaki and see if anyone knows anything and keep going from there.
sounds like a plan.
Alright, hell yeah, I'm finally allowed to leave this town. You've left before. Not in years. Not since he started looking for you. Which has been years. So I'm not wrong. Anyway, Ismark, give me your crossbow. Why the hell do you need my crossbow? Because I'm leaving. Were you not paying any attention? I need my crossbow. Okay, well then find me something else that I can use. No. That's not my problem. Ismark. It's not my problem. Why are you being a bitch about it? Irina, I don't think you should go. I don't think he should let you go. Okay, well, I think I should go, and he is letting me go, so... I don't know, Ismark, that sounds like a you problem. She sticks her tongue out at him. He rolls his eyes at her.
May I? Pruitt says.
If you're trying to convince him, feel free.
Something else.
Oh. I would have liked to hear you talk some sense into him.
So, Pruitt kind of reaches for his back.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was just checking my sheet. Two, great swords, I believe.
Great swords?
Long swords.
Yeah.
Yeah, two long swords.
Okay.
So, I have a second one of these. It might be a bit unwieldy and large. You don't seem the strength type, but
I can work with it. I'm stronger than I look.
knock yourself out then, figuratively.
I'll try my best to not actually do that. Gimme.
I will give her the sword.
She kind of takes a couple, like, test steps with it in her hands. Not swinging it inside, just moving with it. Her footwork is surprisingly good. To the point that, actually Ismark and Kolyan look taken aback by it. Where did you pick that up? Like I said, I'm stronger than I look. I meant the footwork. You've never held a sword before. Well, maybe I'm just better than you. And everyone else, also.
I hate to interject, but given everything, perhaps past life muscle memory?
Don't ruin my accomplishments. This is all me.
My apologies, this life muscle memory, of course.
Yeah, I'm very, very talented.
From your time as a sword fighter when you were 6.
Yeah. And I have a very good memory. I have a very good memory, and I'm very good at holding heavy things and swinging them around.
Well, you will be the muscle of our little group.
I will. You're right. I'm gonna kill so many monsters. This isn't silvered, is it?
No.
I didn't think so. Hope we don't run into any werewolves.
Is there a way to deal with that? Yes. Pride.
It's magic and that's it. Unless you silver your weapons.
We will need to acquire magic weapons then.
Ideally, yeah. Not that I know very many people who make those here. Valaki, maybe. Might be able to find something old somewhere.
I have no such concern with my weapons.
Congrats, the rest of us still need it. She's like, fuck you, you're not special.
I don't, Davey says.
Okay, well, the rest of us who use weapons still need it.
Sidebar, is there a cleric spell that makes weapons magic?
I think so? I think there's one that's just magic weapon, although I don't know if clerics get it.
Might be good to prepare if there is a...
I'll look and see if clerics...
Yeah, we'll take a time out for a sec.
So, update. Clerics do not get magic weapons, so I guess you guys are fucked.
I think, at this point, Pruitt would ask her, so... Do non-silver weapons do no damage, or...?
She looks at her dad. Not as far as I've seen, no. Basically useless.
Oh. Alright then.
Irina, you should ask Donovich if he still has his sword. It would be silvered. It might be better. Like, I guess. Do you not want the weapon? I do, but I don't want to bother him. Take your friends. Go talk to him. And then I suppose you're free to go. Woo! Okay, fine. That's a fine trade-off. I'm okay with that. She will just kind of prance out of the house, and head toward the church in the town.
On that, Tammy kind of grabs her arm.
Yes?
I wanted to ask you something.
Okay. I love answering questions, please.
So, when we resolve this and get out of here, what happens to this place?
Fuck if I know. It's never happened before.
But you have no idea? Would it just fall apart and disappear, or...?
I mean, I think it kind of reintegrates into the material plane, or you can just come here anytime. I don't know. I have no idea. It was a part of the material plane at first, so that's the reason it would go back.
Do you think I could stay here afterward?
I mean, like, I guess if you wanted to, I wouldn't want to.
I don't have the best situation back home.
I'm sure you could figure something out. I think a lot of people will probably stay, so... There's probably room. You can have the house if you want. I don't imagine any of us are staying. Your house now, or later.
I guess if I kill the vampire, I could have the castle if I wanted.
I guess you could, yeah. You're gonna roll over here now. It's your turn. Assuming you can make it happen. We can make it happen. See, no one's ever had me before. They've had past versions of you. But that's not me, is it, Ismark? No one's ever had me before.
You're special.
So I'm going to I'm going to make the difference here.
You're special.
I'm special. You're so right.
Well, thank you so much for letting me stay, I guess, and I will give her a hug.
She will hug you back. And then she will continue on toward the church.
Alright.
Do you all follow her, or do you wait here?
How close following? Just question.
Just like walking with her to the church?
Yeah, I think as a group we'll walk with her. I think not all of us may go inside.
That's fair. You do not have to.
I actually think most people will, but I don't think Ruby will.
Understandable. Have a nice day. Not really your denomination.
It is not her denomination whatsoever.
Irina just kind of walks up to the church, doesn't knock, just kind of, like, throws open the door. It's not locked. Donovich! And she kind of loudly calls this out. It's me! I need something from you. Just absolutely no tact, nothing. And you hear the sound of someone coming down the stairs, kind of like a second floor level of the church. You would assume where this person sleeps. And you see a kind of very old, very tired-looking man. Maybe, I think, Koyon said in his mid-60s. He looks mid-60s. He actually kind of looks older than that. He comes down the stairs. He is actually walking with a cane, you see. Irina, how can I help you? Do you still have your sword? I have a great many weapons here. I don't use them anymore. Do you still have the silvered one? Are you leaving? I am, yeah. Your father say you could? He did, yeah. I suppose it's about time.
We'll take care of it.
So I see. Adventurers, yes?
Yeah, for the most part.
You are not the first I have seen. I would like to think you can be the last. I think we can do it. Like I said to them, they've never had me before. No, they have not. Yes, Irina, you may go and get my sword. It is in the other croft. Okay. Bye. I'll be right back, guys.
Alright.
You don't have any more, do you? Silver weapons? I might have a couple. You can go look if you want. All of you.
Sure, why not?
Woo, adventure in the Undercroft. This is my favorite place to go. I used to hang out in here when I was a kid.
Hey, that's almost where the drow are from.
I used to hang out in this, it's like a basement. I used to hang out there when I was a kid. I would hide from my brother there.
It's a kind of weird place for a kid to hang out, but you're valid.
Well, like hide and seek hang
Right,
out.
okay.
It was a good hiding place. Because he didn't like coming in. Which meant I won, always. If I went somewhere he didn't like going, I could win. And so, I have to take advantage of that.
Feels like it defeats the purpose of the game to a degree, but...
No, the point of the game is to win, and I won.
By any means necessary.
Yes. Absolutely yes. Hide and seek is a game and I'm winning. I've beaten Strahd thus far. He's come before, Donovich kind of says as you're turning away. And I am not trapped in the castle with him, so thus far, it is Arena 1, Strahd 0. That's the score. Anyway, let's go into the Undercroft.
You know, Pruitt says, I used to know someone who would win at chess by fate crying if she were about to lose.
Imagine crying. I've never cried.
You've never cried?
No, never in my life. I say a lot of things that are funny. I mean that genuinely. I've never cried.
Huh. Interesting.
Not as long as I can remember, anyway. Maybe I cried as a baby. No, I have never cried.
What?
I just don't do it. Ever since I was a little kid, it just didn't happen.
Well, I've cried.
Congratulations on being more of a loser than me. She's like, get wrecked. Get good, Pruitt.
Let's see how the Undercroft, yeah?
Yeah. You all go down the stairs. It's dark. Uh, she brings a lantern down with her that's kind of hanging on the door to the Undercroft. And lights it, and the shadows kind of fade a little. It's not terribly dark, just it's underground. The lantern light kind of scatters across this room. You can see across the room there is what looks like a kind of a rack of weapons with a chest underneath it.
Okay.
That you might assume holds more weapons. You don't know what's in there. And she goes over, kind of examines the weapons. Come here. What do you all use?
Uh, I use a longsword, Pruitt says.
Well, the silvered one is mine, unless you can find another one.
I guess I'll just have two longswords that don't do anything.
I'm more important than you.
Yes, you are. Most people are. That doesn't make you special.
I'm very special, excuse you.
Well, you're more special than me.
Correct. She takes the longsword and kind of... It has like a sheath that straps around her chest, and she will take it, sling it over her, kind of like crossbody. It fits her better than you'd expect. And she kind of pushes open this chest. She doesn't struggle with it as much as it might seem. It looks heavy. She may be right. She may be stronger than she looks. She pushes this chest open. And inside of it, it's kind of empty. Not entirely, but mostly empty. What weapons do the rest of you use?
So Pride enchants her stuff.
Yeah.
With
the rights, so she doesn't really need...
We've rolled mix and magic while
I think they actually, it just does that. I think it's been edited to do that.
Oxford is wizard,
yeah,
so doesn't really need anything.
Most of you guys are spellcasters.
Ruby's a cleric, Tary's a sorcerer, Zurel uses a rapier.
Okay. So, Irina kind of digs through this chest for a minute. She pulls out a couple of weapons that aren't necessarily the most relevant to all of you. Notably, she pulls out 2 silvered short swords, several silvered daggers, and this kind of like, it looks like a handle of a weapon, something like an axe, maybe a battle axe or a great axe. It looks heavy. Like a heavier weapon sort of thing, but it doesn't have a blade on it, it's just a handle. I don't know what this is for. If it were an axe, it'd be hanging on the wall.
Huh.
It's just a big stick. If any of you want a big stick...
Is it a magic stick?
Fuck if I know.
Beats a werewolf to death with my magic stick.
I mean, you could check it out if you wanted.
I'll touch the stick. Sure.
Pruitt?
Yeah.
Do you want to roll Arcana on it?
Sure. 8.
Man, this sure is a big stick, and you could probably hit something pretty hard with it. Magic is not your area of expertise.
Sure not.
You are good at hitting people with things, and that is what this stick seems to be for. It's a smackin' stick.
That's its magic item name.
Yeah, it's a smackin' stick. If any of the rest of you would like to check it out, you are welcome to do so.
Yeah, that might not be the worst idea for Oxford.
Yes, go ahead and roll Arcana, Oxford.
21.
Yeah, significantly better. Okay. So you kind of hold this stick for a minute. As you kind of hold it, you feel its weight kind of shift in your hands. When Pruitt was holding it, Pruitt, it was about the weight of what you'd expect for a handle of this. Maybe a little heavier, actually, is the one thing you notice about it. Oxford, when you hold it, despite its size and the material it's made of, it feels surprisingly light to you. And actually, when you hold it, it starts to shift a little in form. It thins. It kind of thins to almost a point, but not quite, a thinner kind of cylinder shape at the bottom. And it actually the top of it kind of morphs into something akin to a quarterstaff as you hold it. Oh, it moves. Well, that's kind of cool. I guess it is a magic weapon or a magic something. I didn't know we had that.
Strange.
You should show it to him, see what it does.
I will.
You can keep it if you want. I don't know what it does. And do you take any of the other stuff? The short swords, the daggers?
Well, there's no reason for Zerl not to take the magic short sword.
Yeah, the silvered one. It's not magic, it's just silvered.
Or the silver short sword. Yeah. I mean, it's largely the same.
Yeah. Short sword does a d6, rapier does a d8. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Okay.
And if any of you want one of the daggers, just in case, especially spellcasters.
Might as well have, like, Tayri take one, or...
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, you all take that. There were 4 daggers, 2 short swords, the cool stick, and then Irina has the longsword. If any of you want to add any of that to your sheets, feel free.
We will.
Beyond that, Oxford, I assume you carry the stick up to talk to Donovich about it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. He kind of is waiting for you, kind of sitting in one of the pews of the proper church area. And he kind of looks up as you all walk over. Find anything of use?
I was curious about this.
What is it? You don't know? It was in your stuff! It looks unfamiliar. I guess it did turn into something else. It was like this big, long, it looked like an axe handle or something.
Yeah.
And then it turned into whatever that is. I didn't know I had that. Huh. Okay, well, do you think it does anything? I can try to identify it if you'd like.
I'd appreciate that.
He will offer to take it from you. Do you give it to him?
Yes.
Okay. So he kind of takes this out of your hands, kind of holds it for a second, contemplates it a little. He seems to be kind of running his hand over the material of it, kind of just studying it, examining it. And after a couple of minutes, he looks up at you, Oxford. Well, I can tell you this much. It shifts into, I think, maybe multiple things. It's magic, that much is for sure. It may turn into different weapons based on the wielder. I wouldn't know for sure, but that seems to be what it is. You can see there are, he kind of, shows you, higher on the thing. There are what look like these little slats in it that seem to, maybe fold out or potentially be designed for some kind of magical energy to emanate, from these slots in it. To make the shape of a longsword or an axe, or seemingly, the top of the staff that it turned into for you.
Huh.
You could all try it if you wanted.
You know what, we will, I think.
Okay. You just kind of pass it around and see if it'll transform for you? Alright, who takes it first?
So we've already had Oxford and Pruitt try it, right?
Well, Pruitt didn't know what it did.
Okay.
You could try it again. It didn't change for him at first, but you could try it again.
So let's go ahead and let your pride.
Okay. You take it?
Yes.
Roll a d20 for me, please.
Alright. Natural 20.
You take it, and it seems to, kind of, you hear, like, this snapping noise, like a noise of two, like, it almost sounds like, two magnets detaching from each other, and this thing, splits in half in your hands, and folds out, into what look like approximately the size of scimitars. If you cut this weapon in half, it would be about the size of the weapons you normally use.
Huh.
It's not bladed still, but it splits in half for you. You could stick it back together if you wanted, you figure.
Interesting, but not bladed, so.
No, not bladed still. The only other thing you notice is you're standing in the kind of the chapel. There's a window kind of above the pulpit and all that. And you vaguely notice what seems like the light shifting a little, almost like it shifts to shine on the weapon as you hold it.
Huh.
But it doesn't produce any blades or anything.
I guess I'll hand it on.
All right.
Alright. To Pruitt.
Okay. Roll me a d20, Pruitt.
10.
You hold it. It kind of reattaches as Pride passes it to you. It again, it feels weighted in the same way that you would expect a weapon for someone built your size with a weapon like yours to be kind of constructed and weighted. But the blades do not emerge from it, if there are any to emerge.
Alright. Ruby.
Okay.
10 as well.
So, Ruby, you again find it kind of morphing into something akin to a staff. It looks a little different from Oxford's, from what it looked like when Oxford held it. But largely the same. It seems kind of like a caster's staff, you would figure. And again, nothing seems to come from it.
Interesting. Hand it on to Terry. 13.
Terry, you take it. It shifts a little bit more. It shifts heights between all of you. It shifts slightly to adjust to your height. Interestingly, you feel like this is maybe a little taller than you would expect it to be for your form.
Huh.
It feels like just a little bit too tall for you. And you're a divine soul sorcerer.
Yes.
Notably, despite the fact that the light has been shining on kind of where you've all been holding this weapon since Pride took it, the light almost seems to shift away when you hold it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pass it on to Zero.
All right.
Alright. 11.
Alright, Zerl, you use a rapier, right?
Yes.
It shifts into not quite a rapier proper, but kind of the size and a little bit closer to the thickness of a rapier. It shifts from what you would expect for a fighter to something you would expect for someone who's more of a dexterity-based character, like a rogue.
Interesting. Weird how we got such consistent, like, close rolls.
Yeah, except for Pride, who rolled a natural 20. And seemed to have some effect on it, though not sure what, and that only reinforces Pride's problems. Don't worry about that.
I realized that Ruby didn't come in here. Oops, we can do this outside, it's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. You can take it out, yeah, and examine it. You can take it out to her. And you do. And then you're all kind of standing outside. Well, that was weird. It doesn't really seem like a very useful weapon if it doesn't have a blade.
But it's probably worth keeping around.
I mean, yeah, it's a magic weapon. If you desperately needed to hit something with it, you could.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Works for me. Okay, so are we leaving? Are we done?
If you're ready.
I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been ready my whole life.
Then I think we're ready to go.
Alright. And you will go. You will, begin to set out. And you walk, in the general direction of Valaki down this kind of path out the other gate, of Barovia. She kind of waves goodbye to Kolyan and Ismark, as she leaves. They're kind of standing outside waving her on. They wave to all of you as well, as you walk past, and you exit Barovia. Arena doing so for the first time in years. And you start to walk down a path.
Alright.
And you're aware that the journey to Vallaki, she said, takes a couple of days,
Yeah.
at least, depending largely on environmental factors that she has not yet described to you in detail, and she didn't really tell you what that means. The only thing she's told you is, again, what you heard when you were in the house, which is paths don't always take you where they're supposed to. And you walk for several hours, not really coming across anything. And as you continue to walk, one of the things that all of you notice is the forest is kind of dead. The forest is kind of desolate. We've noted that. But one of the things you notice is not only is all the kind of the flora, the trees, the grass, all of that seems dead. You've not heard a single animal call. You've not heard the sound of anything moving deeper in the forest. You've not seen any birds fly overhead or heard birdsong or anything at all. Nor have you heard any sounds of water or really any disturbance of just this very still air.
Huh.
In fact, as you walk, it's kind of eerily quiet. The only sound you can hear is the sound of your own breathing and your own footsteps, unless you're actively talking to each other.
That's a little eerie.
It's a little unsettling. You continue to walk despite this. Arena seems entirely unfazed by this. She just kind of keeps moving at a steady pace. She's actually walking kind of at the front of the group with all of you. It doesn't super matter what order you're walking in, okay. But she's walking kind of toward the front. I imagine Pruitt is also toward the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's walking up there with you. She kind of pauses after a couple of hours, and seems to be listening for something.
Everything alright?
Give me a second, please. Do you wait for her?
Yeah.
All of you roll perception if you're interested in doing so, to see if you can figure out what she's looking for.
24.
For who?
Oxford.
Okay. Roll for all of you to see if you pick up on it.
Pride 11.
Okay.
Pruitt 23.
Alright.
Ruby 8.
Okay. Pretty big disparity here.
Terry 15, but she should come to 15 because she's an elf.
Yes, she
17.
should. Okay.
Zuriel 18.
Alright, so Oxford, Pruitt, and Zerl. You can all kind of pick up on, for the first time in a while, it's very far away. You can hear what sounds like some kind of bird call. You can't immediately make out what it is. Oxford and Pruitt specifically, as you listen closer, this Arena kind of holds her hand up to all of you. You hear it sounds as it seems to be getting closer to you, more and more like some kind of corvid's call, a crow or a raven, which you would assume from what you've learned about this place that it is a raven. It seems like only one, notably. It doesn't seem like there's several of them moving together. We should keep walking.
Is that a bad omen?
It depends on where it's coming from. But I'd rather not take the chance.
Alright.
You'll keep walking. You don't hear this bird call again for a little while as you start to move again. But after another maybe 45 minutes of walking, you hear this call again, and it sounds much closer than it did before, to the point where all of you can hear it now. Easily. God damn it.
What?
Arena just kind of mutters under her breath. It's following us. And that's not a good thing. Following you here is never a good thing. Anything following you.
Alright. So what do we do about it?
Any of you have a bow? Zerl, you should have a short
Yes,
bow.
I do.
That's about it. Unless one of you wants to throw a dagger.
I can try taking a shot.
You can see now this bird kind of perched on a tree branch, very high up, just kind of looking down at all of you. Hey, fuck off! Rena kind of yells at it. It does not seem fazed by this.
I'll shoot.
Alright, go ahead.
15.
This bird, as you kind of knock your arrow, seems to just kind of tilt its head at you. You shoot, you seem to hit your mark, Uh, but as your arrow would hit this bird, would knock it out of the tree, it seems to pass through it,
What?
as if it wasn't really there. You think maybe illusory, you're not sure. But it doesn't seem to do any damage to this bird, it actually seems to basically phase right through it.
I kind of look at Arena.
Well, that's fucking new. I don't think he can do that.
Zeril kind of looks internally for a moment and just says, in her head, I know you don't like me, but you got anything?
You wait for a moment to hear a response from your spirit. And eventually, you can kind of see her projection, as she kind of walks. None of the rest of you can see it, obviously, but she kind of projects herself walking toward this bird, kind of looking up at it. And for a moment, she lets you kind of see through her vision, as she is sometimes capable of doing with you. And you see, she kind of has this weird, like, translucent glow to her as she walks. When she projects outside of you, when only you can see her. And as she looks up at this bird, it has a similar kind of outline, like a shimmering outline when she shows it to you through her senses. Which indicates to you that it is perhaps not a living creature, but some sort of spirit in the same way that she is a spirit.
Huh.
And that you can detect that much more easily when you're talking to someone else on a different spiritual plane. And you think this bird is probably not on the Kori plane, obviously, but it may be kind of in the ethereal plane and just projecting itself to you. And that's kind of what you figure.
It's a spirit.
Huh? The bird?
Yes.
What do you mean it's a spirit? How can you tell?
I'm a Kalishtar.
I don't know what that is.
Right.
Arena's never met a Kalishtar before.
I have a bond with a spirit from another realm.
That's kind of cool.
And she can detect that it has some sort of... It's not on her realm either, but it's not of this one.
Okay.
I would guess the ethereal plane, or...
There's plenty of stuff here that can touch that. Ghosts, spirits. I guess I'm not surprised, just... I'm not sure why it's following us then. Strahd doesn't usually employ things like that. Not to follow. He usually sends proper servants, not ghosts. Vampire spawn, wolves, actual followers that aren't spawn, sometimes. Never something like this.
Huh.
I don't know what it is. You hear again this bird call, kind of echo through the space around you as you're on this path.
Well?
Just kind of, caw.
I don't know what to do, but I think... Could I insight?
Yeah, sure.
21.
So the first thing you're keenly aware of is this bird, while it's not necessarily communicating with you, while it's not speaking to you, it is trying to tell you something, you think. You get the impression it wouldn't be following you if it didn't want something from you, and if it's not following you to watch and investigate you, it's probably following you because it wants to show you something, lead you to something, or tell you something. It clearly wants some kind of connection with you, communication that it may not be able to achieve because it is a bird. And not a person. Unfortunately, none of you are druids or rangers, and none of you have to speak with animals.
Yeah, that...
Or speak with dead, which I'm not sure which is more applicable here if it is a ghost.
Speak with dead animals.
Dead animals. Yeah, that's a spell that needs to be in the compendium.
Alright, I'll try this, Zero.
Okay.
So, text of Mind Link specifically says, speak to any creature you can see telepathically,
Okay.
provided the creature is within a number of feet of you equal to 10 times your level. Yeah. Don't need to share a language for it to understand your telepathic abilities, but the creature must be able to understand at least one language.
Okay.
So, I try to open a telepathic bond and say, what are you trying to tell us?
This raven kind of looks down at you, tilts its head. At you directly, curious. It can clearly hear you. And it seems to understand you.
Okay.
And it flaps its wings a little bit down at all of you. And it kind of looks up at the sky and then looks down and then looks kind of all around. And very quietly, you hear a response in your head. This kind of vaguely garbled communication. Um, it's hard for you to properly make out what it's saying, and I'd actually like you to roll perception to see if you can fully understand the message because it's very convoluted, very garbled speech. Like this thing is not used to speaking in an understandable language, but it's trying.
Perception?
Yes. Or insight if you prefer, if that's better, but I don't think it
Say
is.
13.
Okay. So you can kind of make out a significant amount of what this bird is trying to tell you. Not all of it. The gist of what you get is it's something along the lines of something is ahead of you. It seems like more than following you, it's trying to warn you of something. Kind of this garbled speech that somehow, somewhat amounts to a warning that there is something ahead of you, some distance away. Something about where you are going is busy right now, is kind of the impression you get. Busy with things that aren't normally happening, people that aren't normally there. It's something like that. It's warning you about something happening, probably in Valaki, that isn't normally happening there.
There's something ahead of us, it's trying to say. Something bad or unusual.
Okay. It
If I
didn't
had
say what.
to guess Valaki, it's not used to speaking, but it can understand speech.
Okay. And you're, like, talking to it?
Telepathically.
I didn't know you could do that. Is that a
Yes,
Kalistar
it
thing,
is.
too? Okay. That's kind of cool. Can you talk telepathically to me?
I do it, yes. I say yes in her head.
Oh, that's really cool. She says out loud.
You can respond back. You can reply to this message?
She will, like, say some nonsense in your head. And then I assume you drop the link.
Yes.
So this bird is warning us about something at Valaki?
Presumably in Valaki, it could be deeper on this path for all I know, but
Something weird. Okay. I mean, I guess that's good to know. It followed us all this way to tell us that.
it might be on our side. It must be on our side then, or it's lying to us.
Or it's a trap, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we won't know until we get there. Do you all continue to walk?
We do.
Alright. This bird follows you as you walk. Seems to kind of fly over your heads. Flying, trying to keep pace with you mostly, walking at about the same speed as all of you are.
Alright.
And does not seem to go away. And when you stop to make camp for the night, after about a day of walking, it perches in a tree near you and watches.
And it just sits there?
Yes. And it seems to sit there all night.
Well.
You're not sure if it's watching you or watching over you in some way. Would all of you like to establish a watch order for me?
Yes, love to.
Awesome. That's exciting. First watch order of the game. It is, right?
Yes.
I think so. Well, that's fun.
So, I think the first thing to point out is Ruby does not need to sleep.
Have you told everyone that yet?
No.
Uh-huh.
So,
And you have a high elf.
one elf, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it might be just like teams of 2, maybe?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that's...
Arena shouldn't have to take watch.
No, she's baby. You can't make her do that.
Let's go, what the hell? Oxford and Pride, Pruitt and Ruby, Tavery and Zero.
Okay. Cool. That works out. Okay, so you all are... You spent some time on watch. Is that the order you're going in?
Yes.
Okay. So, you... Oxford, Pride, Pruitt, Ruby, Tavery, Zero. Okay. Roll me a d3.
2.
Okay. So, Pruitt and Ruby, roll perception for me, please.
Alright.
I love you so much, and I'm doing this because I love you.
Team Pruby.
Yeah.
12.
Okay.
20.
Alright, I'm going to roll something myself very quickly, which is always threatening. Okay. So, Ruby, you rolled the 20, yes?
Yes.
Okay, Ruby. You hear, long before Pruitt hears, the sound of talking kind of in the distance from you. Uh, Seems like coming from further ahead on the path, and you're not sure if they're coming towards you or not, but you can hear multiple voices. You can't make out what they're saying from this distance.
I kind of like shush. I think that she would like to. Can it does getting closer work?
In theory, you'd have to
Okay.
stealth to make sure they
Yeah.
don't pick up on you.
Ruby will stealth to get closer.
Okay.
3.
Fun. Okay. I'm going to roll one more thing. Okay, so that's fun. I will tell you right now, 2 natural ones in a row. However, they have proficiency modifiers.
Wait, that doesn't matter. Wait, no, house roll depends.
Yeah.
So here's where we've question because we've done different things in house
Yes.
rolls. Can you crit fail?
Also, there's more than one of them.
Oh. But I want to establish this anyway. In
Yeah.
your
Yes,
case.
in my ruling.
House rules. Can you crit fail an ability check?
Yes, but it depends on the ability check.
Okay.
I decide when that's relevant and when it's not. For the narrative. For the sake of the narrative. Fuck you in particular. It doesn't matter either way. Yes, you can crit fail an ability check. Depending on how badly the other person rolls, it may or may not matter.
Mm-hmm.
But also one of them rolled a 9, so they
Yeah.
would still pick up on you. You, as you kind of get closer, you're kind of cutting through the forest a little, and your hand brushes, what seems to be this very sharp, thorny kind of bramble, off to the side of you. And you instinctively kind of, ow, hiss, under your breath, and that is enough for them to stop talking and turn in your direction.
Eep.
And as I roll again for them, fun. Okay, so the first, you can see now there are at least 3 people. You can't see for sure if there are any others. The first 2 of them, they seem kind of looking around, kind of trying to find where you are. They seem to know your general direction, but not see you. And then, you hear, what sounds like a young woman's voice, just kind of very quietly say, "There." And these people kind of all turn and see you. They seem to notice you properly now.
Well, that would be how that happens.
Mm-hmm. And as you look at them, you can now obviously see them clearly. They are all dressed in very dark combat gear. There are 3 of them. One of them looks very, very large, very tall, maybe like Goliath height almost. 8 or 9 feet tall, probably. Very large, hulking figure. Seems to have some sort of great axe, maybe, on his back. He has kind of very. His face is partially obstructed by a cowl and a mask, but even through that, you can see this very thick, dark hair kind of pulled back, and this very notable scowl on his face. The shortest person here, who you would assume is the woman that you heard talk, has basically entirely black, like padded leather combat gear on. Has some sort of dark, large weapon on her back. You can't identify exactly what it is from the angle you're at, and has what looks like a visor on over her face, almost like a part of a motorcycle helmet, like that kind of band around her head, so you can't see her face. The only thing you can see is a little bit of her very light blonde hair kind of poking out from under this visor part of the helmet. And then the third person that you see has no face gear, no head covering.
I said no face.
No face. No face gear, no head covering. Is still wearing that same black gear. Has swords not dissimilar to what Pride has, kind of at either side of his hips. And he has kind of a smirk on his face as he looks at you. You've been following us?
I will be going.
We'll see about that. How long have you been watching us? She hasn't been here long. I would have noticed.
Maybe 10 seconds? Less?
If you know what's good for you, you won't follow us around.
Why are you out here?
We're traveling. Why are you out here?
I'm traveling.
That campfire back there, that your friends?
It's mine.
There are other people there. Do you know them?
Do you?
No, and I don't particularly care about them, but I want to know if you're following us, all of you. Or if it's just you.
It's just me.
Are you going to tell them anything?
What would I tell them?
Anything about this?
No.
Do you genuinely plan on not saying anything?
Like, not really, but
But you don't want to say that.
also, like, I'm not gonna make this a big deal, is the other thing.
Yeah. You're just gonna say you saw other people.
Like, there are these weirdly dressed people in the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you're gonna say, just
Yeah,
weirdly dressed
basically.
people in the woods. That's fair. Okay. So, they seem vaguely satisfied with that answer. He kind of turns to leave, and then turns back to you. Like I said, if you know what's good for you, you'll stay out of our way. If you see us again, just keep that in mind.
Just so you're aware, the same goes for me.
I'm not afraid of you.
You should be.
We'll see about that. You would do well not to threaten us.
We can entirely peacefully coexist. I'm just telling you that I have more teeth than I appear to.
So do we. They will turn to leave. And looking at time, I think that is where we will stop the session.
Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.